The following program contains mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
I'm glad you brought up remapping, so what I would recommend for remapping, because, is there an element of healing for you, Kyli? I see that there absolutely was for you. While it is not something that I would recommend for somebody that I was treating, I also want to jump in and say that for people who are survivors of abuse, what happens in the brain is that trauma does get locked. And if you are looking for something besides sex work to help you to get unlocked, we do have these forms of treatment, bilateral stimulation, cognitive behavioral therapy, clinical hypnosis that can actually get into the brain and sort of unlock the brain, right? Dr. Travis, to answer your question, I do think there is some healing.
Yeah, and I think in this case, at least she's removed from the person, right? She's in the safety of her own home. It can be anonymous, right, Kyli? They don't have your real phone number or even your real name. So maybe that separation is a little safer space for you too.
We're on the subject, Kyli, of your rehabilitation, of you coming back. I mean, has this helped you in your own sex life?
It's been a long process, but it really opened up those channels for me to explore my own sexuality. And I want to add that at the same time I was doing sex work, I was in therapy because I only had to work a couple hours a night. And I had this freedom that a lot of people with mental health disabilities don't get because you're working back-to-back jobs.
I feel like you're using sex work as almost a safe space. Is that right? What you're using it for? Is that accurate? To discover what sex is, a healthy relationship to sex?
I would say so. And that's why I have kind of limited my clients to other people who are disabled and who are struggling with intimacy, people who have just gotten divorced, because it's, sexuality and healthy sexuality, I think, is often an afterthought, but it's truly part of a healthy mind and a healthy body.
So what would you say?
And I think a lot of survivors skip over that.
What would you say to a survivor who's in your shoes, who's saying, I'm thinking about going, I saw an ad. This job, it pays really well. I'm thinking about becoming a phone sex operator. What would you say to that person?
I would say that healing looks different for everyone. And so an avenue for one person is not going to be the same for someone else. But I have a sex work support group here in Salt Lake City called the Magdalene Collective. And I have actually mentored several other women who are disabled, so who are survivors of sexual abuse, as well as, who deal with physical illnesses and do not have the ability to work outside their home. And it's such an empowering thing for a lot of them.
Well, Kyli, your insightfulness is so impressive. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. And Dr. Dow, we always appreciate your input. And I think she hit the nail on the head, which is it's an individual experience, but undoubtedly you have to be working with a therapist through all of this. And that's why there are people like you who specialize in dealing with abuse. Thank you so much.